Easy E, how are we?
Shawnee, what's happening?
My mind and my body are broke.
Oh, mine too, for all the
My
wrong reasons.
I'll keep my hand short on this one. My ego's gone. Everything is gone. I'm delighted to be back running. I ran Monday, and look, if I was talking to someone in the podcast about running, I'm like, hey, just keep it slow, ease into it. Your pace is not going to be what it was before. Don't think about that. You've got loads of time to Dublin. But when I'm doing it myself, all that goes right out the window. Like, I'm just like, I can't believe how slow I am, how heavy I feel. I don't like how big my biceps have gotten because it's slowing me down. I'm doing too many pull-ups. But I on Friday, because I'm still afraid to do interval sessions, so I did a real short session in the gym. I did like 5 minutes on the assault bike, and I did 30 seconds assault bike, 30 seconds ski, and up and back with a sled. And I'm afraid to tell people in case I listen from the gym, it was only 50 kilo on the sled going up and back, and they're pushing twice, three times the amount. And I walked, and it took me 40 seconds. I was having 20-second rest. I did 4 rounds of that, and I was doing a small bit the next day and the Saturday. And then Sunday, I was like, you know what? First long run back, I'm going to treat myself here. Going to be favorite place in the world, the Phoenix Park. And I woke up on Sunday, and I was like, I got hit by a truck. And my legs were in bits. I'm like, told myself it's going to do 10 mile or at least 12K today. I'm like, this mightn't happen. So I got to the park, and I couldn't get any more than a 6 minute pace, even if I wanted. Like, and I was getting, like, people were taking my soul left, right, and center throughout the park. And it was horrific. But I'm like, no, Seán, just head down. Maybe they're going for a shorter run, even though they're all doing a long run training for Dublin Marathon this time of year. I'm like, maybe they're just doing a 2-3K burst, and you're going for your long run. I got 8K in. I had to take a toilet break, and I'm like, there's 2K back to the car, and the Achilles was acting up a little bit, and I got in my head. It's like, you know what? I might need just go back 2K. So I did 10K. I did 24K over the course of the week, and I went from 0 to 24, which is a lot. And I wouldn't recommend that to other people. So I could give myself a break and see how I am. And then I woke up this morning then for work, and I was almost as stiff as I was doing the 100K. Oh man, like I can't squat. Like I was demonstrating split squats and squats today for my classes. I couldn't do it. I was like, you know what it is? Just do it yourselves. I was a lot vocal than I was in a bit. I'm like, I haven't had this pain doing a run like anywhere less than a half marathon since I remember the pain in 2018 after doing the half marathon and getting a PB was 145 at the time. And I remember that pain afterwards at 21K going, this is normal. And I haven't had pain any less than a half since until today. Oh, ego's shot. It's shot. Like I'm like, I need to do yoga.
Yeah, and it's amazing now. Like it's like obviously what you would have given to be able to run 5K 3 weeks ago.
100%.
I know you're already annoyed that you can't run a marathon when you come back from the injury.
And when you say like that, I understand the logic, and I totally agree with you. But oh man, I feel like I can't. Like, and it's only been 2.5, 3 months. I haven't, like, the Strava goes back 10 weeks, and like graph where I had your ups and downs, like run, ride, and stuff like that. Like, so 8 weeks ago, I did just under 24K, or just roughly 24K, and this time a little bit more. And then it goes back 2 weeks that I did nothing. I don't think I did anything since probably the week, maybe 2 weeks after the backyard ultra, where I may have gotten around 30-35K in, and since then 124 and then 24 now. Like, it's, oh man, I feel like I'm right back at square one, and I can't put anywhere near a time in Dublin Marathon. I'm like, if I get through this, it'd be great. But we'll ease back in. I know a week later I could be back to normal, feeling great. But my watch every run is like, hey, you're unproductive. My VO2 max is going down. The race predictor is going up. I'm like, this watch is definitely broke. I'm about to bounce it off a wall, Eric.
Well, me and Garmin are friends again, and I was not working out for you. Well, until it started to tell me I was unproductive today. But on the new bike is here.
The new carbon fiber, fast as lightning. Gonna have you win the fucking thing, bike.
Well, win the thing. To be honest, I still don't know if I'll finish the fucking thing. But the best bit is the bike computer. I'm actually getting stats linking up to the heart rate. So right. Remember all these times that I was saying that Garmin was saying I was 150 low all week, every week.
Yeah.
Well, since the computer is on the bike, I've actually done less training than I was doing in the weeks previous. and the thing went off the charts. It was like, whoa, you are overreaching. And I was like, oh boy, you should have seen me 2 weeks ago. So the Garmin, the technology has actually caught up with the amount of training, and I wore the heart rate as part of the swim as well, which turns out is quite higher for obvious reasons when I'm in a lake and stuff. But yeah.
You're talking about training load, because I always find no matter what I do in the bike, the training load barely goes up. Like I can do a 7K run, no matter like back when I was fitter. I can do a 7K run and the training load would go up more than it would go up if I did a 3-hour bike ride.
And
even when we did Ring of Kerry, the training load barely went up, like not much at all. And
that was the one with the Ring of Kerry. When I finished that, my training load said I was on a par with the day before after cycling for 8 hours. I was like, no. I am not taking this. So with the computer, the heart rate and all, I think now, obviously, I'm part of that Garmin ecosystem in depth now, because it's a Garmin monitor and stuff, Garmin heart rate, Garmin watch. But my long cycle with Rachael for 2 hours, bearing in mind that some of mine have been 2.5 with a run afterwards. My last one with the run afterwards, like, spiked. It was like, boom, 800 minutes of intensity. And I was like, hold on a minute. I've been doing this for weeks. So, and I'm fitter now.
Right, so obviously, yeah.
What was it like at the start when it was telling me I was doing nothing? You know, so.
And would you have been pushing harder because that thing was telling you were doing nothing? You're like, I could do a lot more. I could do a lot more runs, and even you're getting more fatigue. You're like, would you have trusted, or you're like, here, listen to the body here. That training load has to be wrong.
The training load was definitely wrong. I knew that.
Yeah,
I was
but wrecked. Did you knew that was? You're like, I know my body. This is not the right load. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like following the guidelines, which were heavy, and the coach was saying, listen, I'm surprised your body is holding what it's holding with the load we've thrown on it straight away. And I was like, yeah, I'm a little bit stubborn. We'll get there. So when I was on cycles, I was cycling people, and I was asking them, what watts are you holding? And they were like, 180. When it's like, I'm heavier, so I was like, that's probably about 210 for me, you know, like, and trying out their watts is always going to be different to my watts, but I just kind of stick with them because I have a rough guide. But now that I have my own like data for me based on my power and stuff, my God, I was absolutely killing myself on certain cycles. I know now, because when I went and held watts with Rachael, oh, by the way, Rachael is back.
Rachael is back. I think on that we'll get straight into it after the intro music.
Let's get talking about Rachael being back
for this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. Let's go.
So when like I started to realize, like, okay, my stuff is coming back up, my own data, my new bike, I was like, right, Rachael was back and I was off, and I was like, do you want to go do a training? Because I told him about the Greenway, because she was keeping everything to the turbo, and it would be nice to get an outdoor run and a lake swim. And obviously I do Athlone to Mullingar. Never quite made it to Mullingar. I'm always 4K away because I get up too late. And then it was like, it'd be nice to start from Mullingar, head towards Athlone. We were to do a 2-hour cycle. Didn't know what was involved. I was told it was easy, grand. I was like, whew, right, out with someone who's going to the World Championships. All the motivation you'd need. Brandon on the bike beside her, who's been coaching her, and he was just like, we're just going to hold on for dear life. And I was like, this guy is very accomplished in this sport. Now, granted, he's back from injury, so he's not at peak fitness, but even still, he was worried. And I was like, should I be worried going on this cycle? No, it's just easy. So we were going out, cruising comfortably in the relaxed state at 30 kilometers an hour. And then
forget about it.
Like, she got into her aero position on her turbo bike.
What's that?
And took off. So she got into the low position, and that was a sign to me that it was about to go down. I got into my newly accustomed to aero position on my bike.
Your brand new carbon fiber bike, and this is to give it extra speed.
Under a 95 kilo man is now used anyway, but it was fantastic. No, it is. It is so good. Yeah, like
it knocked a couple of kilo off. I forget who told me that joke during the week, but
it's just everything. It's just everything. You know, when you the meme that's going around where your one's rubbing the steering wheel going Bentley. Yeah, that's me.
You're like carbon. Sidetracking this for a second. We have to talk about this bike. Because you're talking about the carbon bike now. So you've talked before in the podcast about, when you get a runaround bike and then you get a really good one. Well, you went and you did that. You got a real good one a couple of years ago. And so you had a high spec bike. And I know with time, bikes have gotten a lot better over the last couple of years. So that spec now is probably not as good as what it was back then, whatever. But you've jumped up a fair bit from a very decent bike you had to now carbon fiber. Like, explain the difference. Like, what are you feeling the difference? Obviously it's lighter, but what else are you feeling?
Placebo. No, it's so the difference. So I had a carbon bike. It was an entry level carbon. So it had an aluminium fork, aluminium handlebars. So it wasn't a full carbon bike. So it was slightly heavier. Now, you pick up my old bike, you're like, it's a 7 kilo dumbbell, like
right.
In its entirety. It had mechanical gears, and there wasn't much else to it. And that was it. It was rim brakes as well, as opposed to disc brakes and all of that mod cons that comes with the next one. So the next bike is a full carbon bike, and it's more of an aerodynamic profile of a bike.
What do you mean by that?
So the actual shape of the bike. So the older bike was all circles. There was nothing aerodynamic about it. It was a circle stem, a circle crossbar, a circle this, a circle that. And that was all that it was. This one is more of an aerodynamic profile. So essentially the profile is facing into wind as I'm cycling. So where I'm seeing the differences, and this is where we get into the training session with Rachel, where I was pleasantly surprised, is when I'm now holding the higher powers, I'm seeing the higher speed.
Okay.
And that's the difference. Like, overall, with the bars added on, with the bottles of water, it weighs about the same as the old bike. So there's nothing in terms of weight that I'm gaining. Like, if I want to really see the benefit of weight, I need to lose 20 kilos. I need to get my weight low and keep my power high, and then I'll see a hell of a lot of difference in terms of my climbing ability. Because I don't let go of the brakes downhill, so I don't get the downhill advantage from being a big heavy fucker on a bike. But you're carrying that weight over distance. So it's the overall, so the idea behind the disc brake. So some of the rim brakes that I've been in certain downhills, even on the Ring of Kerry, where I've pressed brakes and we're still going downhill.
Right.
And that's the idea, the comfort that the disc brakes are giving you. It's better performance of braking. You can brake later into corners. It's all those little additions that are adding into the performance of the bike. And you can trust in the brakes a little bit more. You don't have to add integrator. Like, I'm not that competitive to see that benefit fully, but I definitely have more trust in the bike going down a hill, or it's even coming to a road. I know my brakes are just instant. It's amazing the difference. I didn't think I was kind of like, brakes are brake. No, it's chalk and cheese. It's a massive difference. The electric braking or the electric gear changing, the Di2, is phenomenal. I didn't think it would be.
You have to charge your gears.
Yeah, now you get like 10,000 gear changes out of a charge. Like, it's you're using the electrics for like a split second, and it changes the gear for you. But it's like instant. Like, you hit the button, boop, into the exact gear. It's measured. It's whereas the mechanical, you're grinding it, might miss a gear, might not, have to tune that, and that's what was happening with my other bike. Like, it's just the efficiency of it. Like, now, obviously, it adds weight. It's it's another complexity. There's electrics now. There's another thing you have to charge. But I have to say, I was very impressed with the efficiencies of changing the gears. It just seems seamless. And like, a lot of times when you're changing gears, sometimes it'll click, 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 and then change.
Yeah,
this is instant. As soon as you hit the button, bang, you've got the next gear, and it's amazing. It is. As soon as you hit a little bit of a hill, you don't want to lose cadence. You just beep at one and bang, you're just still at that same power, and it's just seamless. And it's just I have to say, I didn't think I'd notice much of a difference, but it really is. And then overall, something I have to get new to is I'm in a totally new position than I was in the other bike. So the other bike wasn't the right fit for me. I was fitted on the bike, but the bike's frame size, everything about it was not right. So I'm actually spending time learning this new position. So my bum is sore than it's ever been. It's all new to me. But again, when I'm up at those speeds, the efficiencies are so much better. I'm so much in a better position. The bike is helping me out. I don't know if I shave the legs, I might get an extra little bit. But
do you wish
is it
you did it
working?
sooner? In terms
No.
of getting into the bike fit before you're 9 weeks out from the Ironman, as 9 weeks out you are from your Ironman. Do you feel like you wish you got it in sooner, or you're in just at the right time for your
No,
training?
no, I think I have enough time to build myself up to the lost sheep on this bike. Um, I'm happy I trained hard. I'm happy I had the lesser bike because, and it's like we had a conversation with someone, like I could have bought the $5,000 bike and done nothing with it either. Do you know, like I proved myself the need. I got back on the bike because we've done a lot of talking about me just showing up to events and doing them. Whereas I've put in the graft on the bike. I've put in the chasing Lorcan Fisher and Owen Connolly down on this red rocket. And just trying to hold on to these guys. And now I have another bike. Not saying it is helping efficiency, it's helping performance. It's not, I haven't got any better, but there is confidence now that the machine is underneath me, so it's all on me now. There's no excuse on the gears up the hills. There's no excuse on this. There's no excuse on the position. But I've learned the hard way in terms of having just the bike to just go and cycle on and try and stick with these guys on better performing bikes and then say, oh, well, you're only quicker because of the bike. And now I have the nicer bike. And it's like, oh, well, you're only quicker because your cost 4 more than mine. You know, like...
It's a weird analogy. It reminds me, I was like a lot younger. I'll probably lose a lot of the audience in this one. But I remember going into like lifestyle or something and wanting to get like the Adidas Predators. And then I remember the guy selling them. And he did a poor job trying to sell because he's like, are you sure you're good enough to wear them? And then buying the total Nike boots that everyone had in the early 2000s. I was like, okay, I'm not a Predator kind of guy.
It's but that's it. Like for me, it was proven the word. Like with running, I think buy the best shoe that suits you because you're gonna put impact into your knee. Like I got a bike that had served me so well, and I put new tires on it, and I got out and I got cycling. And then it was a case of, okay, an Ironman is a long thing. And we'll touch on, it's not to be taken lightly. And we'll touch on that a little bit more. But for me, it was like, okay, I've committed to this. I'm going to Portugal. I'm going to do it. I've always said I'd upgrade my bike. And this is the perfect opportunity. I proved to myself I was consistent with getting up. I was on the turbo trainer. I was putting in the graft. And I was
You're
like,
well
you know
on track
what?
this year.
Let's see what this gives me. Let's see if that turns a 14-hour into the 13-hour. And to be honest, like although I haven't trained over the last 3 days with other commitments, the cycle with Rachel, so the Rachel is back part is where this comes in terms of looking at efficiencies. So Rachel's bike is beautiful. We might even have to put a picture of it. It's this lovely, like sky baby blue. She has all the kit to match it. Like, it is. When you don't just look at something and go, oh, that's nice.
That's World Championship material.
It's World Championship material. It's absolutely beautiful. So anyway, we're on this cycle. Bring the story to how I have noticed a difference on the bike. I'm cycling with someone who's competing in a World Championship. Her coach and partner, fiance, is coaching her through it. And he's on my old bike. And he's churning through and keeping with it. And putting that bike at speeds I've never got it at, which was part of the reason why it's the cyclist, not the bike.
Yeah, I'm with you.
For me, though, when Rachel got into that racing position and she was putting out her racing watts, we were traveling at 44 kilometers an hour.
Are you on her back wheel at this stage, or you can't get to her back wheel?
I didn't sit on her back wheel for the purpose of I needed to eat wind on my own. I'm not going to have a draft in the Ironman. I am training. And I was like, I'm going to hold on as long as I can. If they lose me, and that's what I said to them at the start, it's like, look, I appreciate you bringing me out in the training cycle. If I lose you, when my clock hits an hour, I'm going to turn around. I'll see you back at the car. But I held on, and I did. I got a bit of confidence. Now, it wasn't hard. It wasn't 300 watts. She was just doing her race pace. So she was gliding through the air, like effortlessly. Jeez. Like I was red-faced, holding on for dear life, kind of counting down the minutes. The best way I can describe it, so I'm in the position, so my elbows are on the handlebars essentially, and we're out into the front, and I'm just churning the legs. I'm holding 280, 290 watts, Rachel, because of my weight, Rachel's holding 220 watts, which is her race pace, which she's hoping to hold. And we're doing 44 kilometers an hour down the Greenway. And I'm like, oh my God. And it's kind of like, it reminded me of holding a plank. You know, when you're on your elbows,
Yeah.
and 10 seconds feels like 10 minutes. It was the closest feeling to holding the plank I've had. Not because of the plank. It was because I was so tired. And it was no defined time. It was just Rachel time.
Yeah, so you could have been going for another 2 minutes, could have gone for another 2 hours on
I could
this.
have been going for 10 hours. All I had to do was shut up and cycle as best I could. And then eventually I just see her come up out of position. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God. Oh my God, thank God. So that went on for 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
It was amazing. It was absolutely fantastic to just hold on and just churn it out and be pushed. And that's the whole idea that I'm so lucky with the people I've got to train with. And
yeah,
I kind of went off my training plan this week for the opportunity to go and train with Rachael and Brandon. And oh my God, it was absolutely amazing. But
so we were going to have Rachael on the podcast and stuff now, but she's all set. She's flying to Finland tomorrow. You're flying out later the week. Talking to her before she left, I know you guys do stuff over the weekend and everything else. How is she set? I don't want to put words in her mouth or anything like that now, but how do you think she's as good as she's ever been for this thing? Feeling confident, feeling good, or?
Well, what I will say is, and what we said today in the car back. So we went to the aquatic centre for a couple of times, and Rachael, in fairness, is trained every day, and hard training sessions. She went for a hard swim today. It was good swim, some quick swimming, and for me, the difference. So what I would say about Rachael versus what I would say about me, when she arrives to the start line, the work is done. She cannot look back at her training and go, I just didn't put in the effort. Do you know what I mean? So in terms of like, a race is a race. Anything can happen on the day. But in terms of arriving to that start line, she's left it all there. You know, it's the victory lap for her now. It's going to be hard. She's going to have to push. She's going to have to dig deep. Anything can happen on the day. But in terms of giving yourself the best chance to be the best version of you that you can on the day, like, she's definitely ready in that sense. She is good. Like, when you look at her even on the bike, like, super fit. Like, she just looks super, super, super fit. It's just amazing. And like, she's gliding through the air. She runs well. She swam her quickest 100-meter in the pool with us as well.
Brilliant.
A week out. You know, like, there's little things. Now I don't want to big her up, and she's very modest, and she will be nervous, absolutely, of course. But in terms of all you can say to someone in this position is the work is done. The prep has been good. She's flying out tomorrow, so she's there well ahead, getting the bike set up. She'll swim in the lakes, she'll cycle a part of the course to just try and relax and visualize and stuff we talked about on previous episodes, that visualization. And so she's looking really good. And for anyone who's interested, it is the World Championships in Lahti in Finland. Those who are interested in Rachel's journey can look online as well and follow her through the course. You'll get the different time intervals, how she's comparing against the other athletes, but she's doing some phenomenal stuff, like 44 kilometers an hour down a greenway.
That's unbelievable, Jeff.
She's not even breathing hard.
Jeez.
Not even breathing hard.
And of course, you're going yourself to see her this weekend as well. So any given run day Instagram, you get a bit of an inside scoop on what it's like for the World Championships in Finland.
Absolutely, and we'll keep everyone updated as best we can. It without being a Rachael takeover, it is going to be a Rachael takeover. I have to say, personally, I'm very proud to see what consistency does. We talk it, but Rachael is so consistent with her training, and it's absolutely amazing. I swam with Rachael. It was kind of nice. For me, it was nice. And it was a privilege, we'll say. Before Rachael went to Australia, I swam with her in that exact route, in that exact lake. And Rachael swam, I was swimming at 2:15 100 meters at the time, maybe a little bit slower. Rachael was swimming a 2-minute 100 meter and was really happy with that. And then we're back 2 years later. She swims a 1:22 100 meter in the aquatic.
Oh my God.
We're back in the lake. She's churning out 44 kilometers an hour on the bike. You know, like, it is what consistency does for training. Like, and we've heard some fantastic people on the podcast, and we had Keith on, who only started a couple of years ago. Rachel's only at this since the end of 2019. This is something that everyone needs to remember. It's just been consistent. She's a full-time hard job. She's up, like even here, staying with us. She is awake at 5:45, ready to train. And then she's training again that evening. Like, it is absolute consistency. It's what you need for this. But very proud, very happy to have got a little training session in, to get a taste of what it's like. And to, I say that about consistency, but since she's been home, my training's gone to shit. Thanks, Rachel. Oh, you better win. So that's what I said today. I was like, I want the top 3 finish. So yeah, it will be a bit of a Rachel takeover, and I will keep.
Brilliant.
I'll share the link. So, but anyone who wants to see a girl with big ambitions to just do herself proud, do follow the Instagram next weekend. Because the next episode after will probably be with Rachel, if she's well able to come back onto the podcast, or maybe it'll be the week after. But do keep an eye on the Instagram for all of the updates. It's going to be very exciting. I'm excited. But in terms of being ready, the work is done. It's just a case to see how it goes on the day now. So hopefully a really, really good outcome for an Irish athlete.
Brilliant.
Who's made away and is only doing this a couple of years.
Yeah, we can't guarantee we next Monday, just because God knows what's going to be after racing Sunday. You're over in Finland and everything else. So it'd be great to have it on Monday, but we don't have it on Monday. Hopefully the following Monday then we'll catch up with Rachel, see how she gets on in the World Championships. I suppose, unfortunately, we'll switch gears for the last 10 minutes, which will put it on an incredible downer. It's hard not to talk about the Ironman without talking about Cork yesterday. As recording it, this was yesterday, and what went on. And I suppose everyone listening now knows at this stage. Unfortunately, 2 people passed away during the swim. Absolutely tragic. Looking at that, the water. Now, I've never been on an event to start of an Ironman. I don't know what the sea looks like or anything like that, but I can tell looking at those videos, I'm like, the waves and stuff that height. And I know there's a lot of people going into the sea together, but to even get into that sea after all your training and stuff. And I do not, like, one of the takeaways from this is some people are like, why would they even go into the sea in the first place? But when you see some of your people going to the sea, and you've trained for this for a year, 18 months, and you're told it's okay to go in the sea, this thing starts here, because you don't start in the sea and you walk away from, to walk away from all that is like, how do you go away from all your training and everything else and everything you paid for and all the rest? I know you can't put that in the price of life, but when you're in that situation, it's fly or fly. You're probably like, I don't even know what you'd be thinking in that sort of situation. You probably a bit more experienced swimming in rougher seas, stuff like that. But just seeing the video, the start of the race was my God. We're hearing, we've had a few messages in about people that did the race. Everyone that messaged, you know who you are. Absolutely phenomenal to even attempt the race in that. And I truly do mean that. I know where people are saying, "Oh, why would you in the first place?" But from my perspective, putting in the effort and everything to it, and then you're told to go, and you go. You know, in hindsight, it's very easy to say to walk away and don't do something like that. But even jump in and attempt something like that is absolutely fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. Look, look, we're an open podcast, so I'm going to give my thoughts on everything you just kind of said there in terms of, and I always relate it back to my own perspective, because I am one of those people who has a fear of the open water. So to do this Ironman is about conquering a fear. It's about proving to myself the impossible for that first hour or two. That to me is something I don't think I could ever have achieved, and that's what this is all about for me. Could I, like, I can walk the marathon, I can stay out there for hours on the bike, you know.
Yeah,
that swim section is terrifying for me, and I know there's a lot of people in the boat, the same boat as me, and to put it back to a perspective of the fear it invokes in me. We went on a training swim, myself and Lorcan, and it was windy, and we were in a lake, and there was waves. There was not waves, there was ripples, but that to me was terrifying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like on a training swim, when you put your head in the water and it's blackness, and it's, you come up for an air, and all of a sudden there's a wave there. You go to take a breath, you're not taking a breath, you're taking on water. And that was in a lake on high winds. Now it was different.
It's still scary. Your water's water, man. Water.
Yeah.
Like it's...
So what I went through there, compared to what the guys went through in the weekend is you can't even compare. And
No.
I would have to look at that swim, but this is where stubborn Eric probably could find himself in trouble, because like you said, when I show up to a thing and everyone else, and it is like, if your mate jumped off the cliff, would you jump in? And it was like, well, everyone else at the start of the Ironman jumped in, so I'm going in after.
There's a reason they're jumping in.
You have that safety in numbers feeling.
Yeah.
You know, you're surrounded by other athletes, and you're like, look, sure, we'll give it a go. I've paid €600. I'm not just going to walk away.
And the adrenaline.
I've told everyone I'm going to do this. But I would have stood at that pier and gone, they have to cancel this. There's no way. That was a surf element, not a swim. But there's bits that kind of get me. And there's people out there who are great swimmers and great lads and glassies and say, it wasn't that bad. I don't know what all the hype and all it is about. Everyone else finished. Personally, I don't agree with you. I watched two videos. One was the pros, or the elites heading off. They made it look like there was no waves in the water. It was just, they just underdove waves. They were over. They were experienced. They made it look easy. No bother to them. But they all said challenging swim. And then the next video I watched was obviously the amateurs who were not good. So those who were staying to the back of the queue to not get involved in the rush, who were going to swim the hour and a half plus or a little bit longer. Sorry, I'm talking about the full side of things.
Yeah.
As opposed to half. They were being wiped out on the pier. Like, there was people trying to stand to walk down a little bit further, wave hits, and you're watching them washed back. They came off their feet and they're back 10 meters. They haven't even started swimming, and that's what you're dealing with.
A lot of them had their back turned to the waves to start because they were bracing for the impact of those waves. It was going up over their head, and that's before they started swimming. I was like, my God, it's...
So that first 200 meters is part of the swim. Like, that was tough. That I don't envy anyone, and I'm proud of anyone who was able to get in that and get out, because that was impressive. That alone was impressive. I think Ironman Cork was probably under a little bit of pressure because they've cancelled swim on a couple of occasions.
They cancelled 2019, yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of renowned as won't it go ahead type thing. You know, like it's...
Well, they shortened the full this year to 1.8 after cancelling they cancelled 70.3 on the Saturday, but a lot of that was seemingly due to debris and the roads and stuff. It wasn't safe for the cycle. According to that, one of the pictures I saw of Ironman Ireland, where they're showing pictures of the road and cleaning up the debris and stuff, more so than the sea. The sea could have played a factor, I don't know. But then on the Sunday, I think they were told the Sunday morning, and then I could be wrong on this, but from what I've read, that they were told, okay, everyone's now doing only the 1.9 instead of the 3.8. So once again, not a full complete Ironman, but obviously that was done interest of safety because, and seemingly there was a delay in starting because they had issues setting up the boys and stuff out because the change in distances and all the rest. That's another thing I read that started later. Once again, I'm being very open-ended in this. I'm open to interpretation because obviously it wasn't there at the start, but that's the stuff that I've read. And I've also heard that when people were swimming and, like you said, near the back, and they realized that this is getting a lot tougher for people, that some people are told to turn around. And you'll be able to relate to this more than I ever will, because I don't think I'm getting into the open sea ever. I struggled in a clear 25-degree day in Port Marnock to go put the sea up to my ankles. And I'm like, God, this is too cold. I'm done. But they were told to turn around. You've gone to turn around this distance. We're cutting it even shorter at this stage. But I don't know how from what I was reading, they couldn't even hear people saying that because they were all together. The way one person put it in our Instagram, he said it was complete carnage to see the swim. Yeah,
it's like, if I was arriving to Lahinch for the weekend with the lads, I'd be looking at that start going, geez, we do a good bit of surfing here. Yeah. You know, like but do you know what I mean? This is supposed to be a swim, and that's why, like, the likes of others are bay swims. They're swimming in harbours. They're swimming in this for that very reason. Now, I know it is a slight bit of a bay swim, but they were big, challenging waves. And a lot of people who are doing these sports are getting into swimming. You will have your percentage of people who are not that good at swimming, who are just trying to get through an Ironman. They don't do a lot of open water swimming or are just getting into it. And I admire them for trying, but like, that would have been like a washing machine. You know, if a wave catches you in your breath and then all of a sudden there's a panic and then the next wave comes, I'm not going to say too much. I just know for me, I would have had to seriously consider getting in the water there. And I probably would have, and I probably would have went anyway, and maybe I would have been fine. I probably would have climbed over the waves. I probably would have rolled on my back and just tried to breaststroke over them or whatever, just give them the day. Because the pressure of family coming, the pressure of this, the pressure of everything. And I just think it's a bit sad. It's but again, it adds a realism to me. Like, and I'm not confident now again to take on this swim. I'm looking at this going, what have I signed up for? So yeah, it is an interesting one. It's a sad one. It's really, really sad.
Very sad.
There's another Irish girl lost her life in the swim in France as well. I forget the name of the course. She just went for the swim and part of the race and just didn't come home. You know, like this. It's kind of sad when people are there for part of sport. Like, and it's a little bit scary. But obviously, a lot has to be investigated. We're a podcast. We're just a couple of average blokes. But I'm having the same conversation with you as I had earlier with other people about this event. And I don't know. I think there's a lot of pressure involved. I think even for any of the rescuers who are involved, that was a challenge day to rescue anyone, never mind a couple of hundred people. Do you know, like it's going to be interesting. I know a lot of people are interested in here to follow, but unfortunately 2 people have passed. But in the same sentence, well done to anyone who got through that, ended up doing the full 70.3 or Ironman. It's a phenomenal performance because you're way more tired than you ever anticipated, or your training probably anticipated for the start of that cycle, because that was challenging. That was adrenaline. Like, there was a lot of things spiking there that are usually probably a hell of a lot down. The current was super strong to swim against. So, like, gassed out, I'd say, by the time they got started.
Those that I know is a minor point, but like that would have went down there to get going on the Saturday and get it done, and being told, actually, you've got another day now to contemplate this and get your food and your everything all together, and then go again on the Sunday, and then the delayed start on the Sunday, and then seeing what you're seeing out there. It's unbelievable just to have the mindset to keep going and doing it. Congrats to anyone that did do, or even walk up that starting line, regardless of what your decision was. I really can't add any more to it than that.
It is good, and it is kind of, I suppose, to bring it back home, as like the Ironman series is no joke. The half Ironman is no joke. So many people are doing them now, so it's becoming the norm. But you know, it's a substantial effort. You know, it's a substantial pressure on the body. So, you know, there's a lot involved in it. And for me, glad I'm at least given the training a decent stab for 10 weeks time, that I can at least attempt it. But again, you know, it's for me, fear factor probably would have kicked in there big time. Yeah. And this is a real thing. And we're so used to seeing people with the medal, you know, and this is why it's so sad. This is why it's so sad. And no one, like, everyone's looking to blame someone. It's always in the Irish thing. Like, I suppose the most important thing is to remember, like it is an event. There's always a risk involved. You could come off a bike, you know, you could do anything. It can be dangerous, and people do the best they can to keep people safe. But unfortunately, this time 2 people didn't come out of the water. And it's something that's going to motivate me to keep training, keep going to the pool, and making sure that, at least for me, getting through that stage is a big thing. So it hasn't helped my fear factor in any stretch. But yeah, look, it is something people are going to be watching with keen. But yeah, it is a dampener, because a lot of people who have achieved that 70.3 or their Ironman in that, it's always going to be
marked for that.
Yeah,
and it shouldn't be taken away for their accomplishment. But people will look at that and go, 2 people didn't make it at all.
Yeah, and that is a weird finish line feeling for anyone who's done it, who hears that news afterwards. It's like the realization of, geez, that way hit me a bit funny, you know, like
because they probably went through the cycle and the run and probably had no way of knowing that what happened, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. So, but yeah, look, great achievement. It'll be interesting to see what comes out over the next little while. But well done to anyone who did it. And also, to bring it back to another thing, the 10 mile in Phoenix Park, to change pace a little bit. Well done to everyone who completed that. Nearly 3,000 runners in the Phoenix Park for the 10 mile part of the Dublin series. It's great to see people getting out. I know there's a lot of local running clubs that were getting in there. Cherry Orchard Running Club, seen a lot of them. But yeah, it's just to give them a shout, just because they've very distinctive t-shirts, and in fairness, there was quite a substantial amount of them. But to bring it back into the positives, there are a lot of people really getting involved in sport. There was a lot of sport over the weekend, and it was just unfortunate the storm hit, I suppose. But yeah, no, it's an element of realism for me, Seán. It is a dampener, but there is stuff to look forward to. There's the World Championships coming. There's my own training now. There's the extra motivation to keep at it as well. And hopefully, learn some lessons from others. But well done to everyone who attempted.
100%. Well, we continue with that, and then you got the last street. You got the next race series is your birthday for the half Ironman. If not the half Ironman, sorry, the half marathon. If I'm not mistaken, where it's time there.
We'll give a half marathon a go. I don't know of the time. I don't know if I'm going to break any records for myself. I think I did say like an hour and a half a few months ago, but the reality of that is going to be a lot different, I'd say. Just because I haven't been building for speed, I'm building for survival. So, but we'll see how it goes. It's definitely something to look forward to. It is my birthday as well, so it's worth an extra bit of suffering. But yeah, it's great to see. And like you said, the Phoenix Park, I haven't been back in there in a long time, so it's probably due a spin out, an old lap or two in the Phoenix Park. I suppose it's definitely overdue. But yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. I'm enjoying it. I'm back at it this week. There'll be a lot of running next weekend, which will build my confidence in running. But on off the bike, the last point as well on the positions of the bike and the running and how I can't put a time on these things just yet. With the new bike position the week before on the red bike,
right,
I did a 2.5 hour cycle. I got off the bike. I could not move my legs. I ran for that half hour and it was torture. I did a 2.5 hour cycle, got off the new bike a week later. I ran a 5-minute pace for 8K. The freshest legs in the world. So all of this is new and there's a lot of trial and error. But as you said, I've learned the hard way and now it just seems easier, even though it's not easier at all. But just to kind of pick up the tone there for the last one. But we'll look forward to next week. And we'll see how the World Championships go for Rachael.
100%, Rachael. If you're listening on your flight to Finland, best of luck in the World Championships this weekend. We'll be all cheering you on. And that's going to be wrapped up for this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. That's it for myself and Eric. Take care.
Bye.